British English or American English? Should you understand the differences? Many students have told me they have a difficult time understanding the differences between British English and American English. Let's take a look at 3 areas where you will find differences between British English and American English. First, we'll take a look at spelling differences because there are quite a few, and there will be a little overlap with some grammar as well. Secondly, we'll take a look at some vocabulary differences. It's quite interesting to see some of the differences in words that are used with the same meaning in British English and American English. And third, we'll talk a little bit about pronunciation differences between British English and American English. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to look at 5 common differences between spelling for British English and spelling for American English. So let's start with the first one. The ending in British English with RE or the ending in American English with ER. These words are the same, have the same meaning, but they are spelled differently. Center, theater, kilometer, leader. Do you see the spelling differences? Secondly, the differences between British English using OU and American English just using O. We have words like this: color, favor, honor, humor, and neighbor. The words are the same, but the spelling is different. The third spelling difference to notice is for British English, words that end with NCE, and American English, words that end with NSE. For example, license, defense, offense. By the way, if you have a strong defense and a strong offense, and you're playing football in Great Britain, then you'll be playing soccer in North America. The fourth spelling difference is that in British English, often words that end with L that are preceded by a vowel, the final L is doubled when you continue with ED or ING. For example, traveled, modeled, fueled. But you'll notice in North American English, we don't double the final L. And the fifth common difference in spelling is for British English, words that end in I's, ISE or YSE, are different in North American spelling. We use IZE or YZE for words such as these: analyze, realize, paralyze, memorize. And one final note to mention regarding spelling for the differences between British English and American English is about verb forms. Many words that take the past tense in British English can end with a T. However, North American English ends with ED. These are a few words that take the past tense form of the verb that are spelled differently. Learnt or learned. Burnt or burned. Dreamt or dreamed. And just a comment too, it's common in North American English to use the British speaking pronunciation for that. We'd often say, I burnt the toast. But we wouldn't generally write with T, but it is acceptable. There are a few other grammar differences related to prepositions, and if you want to know more about that, there are some great videos out on YouTube that I would recommend that you take a look at. But the focus for this grammar point is the difference in spelling for past tense verbs. Don't make a mistake on those. A second common area of difference for British English and American English is vocabulary, and this causes more problems for many students. Let's take a look at a few different words that mean the same thing but are completely different words for British speakers and American English speakers. A mate in Great Britain would be your friend or your buddy in North America. Where do you live? If you live in Great Britain, you might live in a flat. But if you live in North America, you would probably live in an apartment. A flat and an apartment are the same thing. Also, if you are living in Great Britain and you live on the ground floor, then that would be the first floor in North American English. The ground floor and the first floor are the same in meaning, but they are different in British English versus American English. And so if the ground floor and the first floor are the same, then that means that the second floor and the first floor are the same. Does that make sense to you? Well, if you want to get away from home and travel, in Great Britain you might go on holiday. But in the United States you would take a vacation. Holiday and vacation are essentially the same things, but they are different words. In North America we use the word holiday, but it generally refers to special days on the calendar, such as Independence Day or a Christmas holiday. And while you're on vacation, you might want to go and see a film. If you're in Great Britain, you would call it a film. If you're in North America, you would go to a movie. These are the same. If you go to see a film in Great Britain, then you will go to the cinema. But if you go to see a movie in North America, you'll go to the movie theater. In Great Britain, theater is generally a place for live acting. But in North America, we can call a theater a place for live acting or a movie theater where you watch a movie. Another common word for those who use the public transport, Great Britain, or public transportation in North America, is the underground. The underground in Great Britain is the same as the subway in North America. And while you're out, if you go shopping at a tall shopping mall or go up high in a skyscraper, then in Great Britain you would take the lift, whereas in North America you would take the elevator. These are the same. But if you prefer to stay home and just watch the telly, this is what people in Great Britain call the TV. The telly in Great Britain is the same as the TV in North America. And there are so many more. Take a look at this list. You'll notice that there are different words for the same thing. Autumn or fall. Rubber or eraser. By the way, rubber has a different meaning in North American English. I'll let you look that one up on your own. Mobile, mobile phone, or cell phone. Petrol or gas, gasoline. A car park or the parking lot. The lorry or the truck. The bonnet or the hood. The boot or the trunk. The pavement or the sidewalk. Did you know all of those differences? Let's take a look at a few more. In fact, if you go shopping for clothes, there are differences in words for clothes. One of the common funny ones is trousers in British English and pants in American English. In fact, if you say pants in British English, it refers to your underwear or the underpants that you have. So men wear underwear or underpants, and women would wear knickers for their underwear. It's quite funny. Some people might even be interested in knowing the bad words that are different in British English and American English. Well, one of them is what I just mentioned with pants. In British English, you might say, that thing is pants. Whereas in North American English, you would say, that thing sucks. These two differences are quite funny, in my opinion. There are other bad words that you can learn in British English and American English, and I'm not going to teach them to you in this video. But if you do watch some James Bond movies, you'll hear him say some words that are known as bad words in British English. But as a North American, I don't have a sense about these bad words. When I hear them, they don't sound like bad words to me, but they are in British English. And you can't forget about the different words that are used for food, because we all love to eat and drink. Let's learn a few different words in British English and American English that mean the same thing. Let's start with a biscuit. In North American English, we call this a cookie. How about these? In British English, they're called chips. In North American English, they're called French fries. That's interesting. We even use the word French. I wonder what they say for this in France. In Great Britain, these would be called crisps. But in North America, they're called potato chips. French fries and potato chips. Crisps and chips. I really wouldn't recommend that you eat too many of any of them. Here's one that many people don't know. In Great Britain, this is called coriander, but in North America, we call it cilantro. It has a very strong taste, and you probably love it or hate it. Now, perhaps you're not someone who goes out to drink alcohol in the pub, but you should know this word because in Great Britain, people go to the pub to drink a pint. But in North America, they would go to the bar to have a beer. These words mean the same. Pub or bar. Pint or beer. Perhaps you just go to a normal restaurant to eat normal food. And for breakfast, in Great Britain, you might want to eat eggy bread. But in North America, you would eat French toast. And be sure to ask for the cutlery in Great Britain, but ask for the silverware in North America. Oh, I almost forgot a very common different word. In Great Britain, if you want to throw something away, then you will throw away the rubbish in the dustbin. But in North America, you would throw away the trash in the trash can, or the garbage in the garbage can. Quite a lot of different vocabulary words, aren't there? There are more, and it's important to know these differences depending on what your need for your future is. Taking a test, studying in a university, or just working in a company that focuses on one of these different types of English. And the third and final area of difference we're going to talk about between British English and American English is pronunciation. Let me just give you just a little bit of information about pronunciation differences. First of all, North Americans love to pronounce the R a lot more than British English speakers do. For example, when we say the word father, we pronounce the ER at the end very clearly. Father, father. But in British English, it would be pronounced more like father, without the R pronunciation. Even I need to practice that if I'm going to try to speak British English. Another example would be mother, mother. Words that end in ER are spoken with a clear R pronunciation at the end of the word in North American English for words like father, mother, brother. In British English, the ER sound at the end is different, more like the schwa sound. You might also notice that North American English and British English pronounce the T differently. Sometimes in British English, the T is very clear, and other times the T is almost entirely dropped. Whereas in North American English, the T is changed sometimes to a D sound. Words like mata, matter. In North America, we would ask for some water. Water. But that's not what they would say in British English. In British English, it would sound like this.
Water.
One other aspect of pronunciation to pay attention to, with differences between British English and American English, is where the stress falls on the word. In North America, we would say this is an advertisement. But I believe our British friends would say advertisement. The stress is in a different place, isn't it? We also shorten some words. In North American English, we would say it's an ad. I believe my British friends would say it's an advert. So my pronunciation might not be so perfectly clear with British English, but the differences are kind of minimal, but it's good to pay attention to them. How about this word? In North American English, we would say aluminum. I believe my British friends would call it aluminium. That's slightly different, isn't it? For pronunciation differences, I would truly recommend that you spend time listening and mimicking or shadowing the pronunciation that you want to gain. Learning pronunciation is best done through the ear rather than by reading the symbols, although it can be helpful to read the symbols as well. There are so many great YouTubers out there who help you with these pronunciations, and if you want to follow a British YouTuber or an Australian YouTuber because that's where you plan to study and work, then good for you. It will help you improve your pronunciation by listening and shadowing or mimicking their own pronunciation. Give it a try. And if you're intending to study in North America, follow me and mimic my pronunciation because I follow a standard North American English pronunciation. So, how did you do? Do you feel like you have a better understanding of the differences now between British English and American English? We looked at differences in spelling, differences in vocabulary, and a few differences in pronunciation. If you focus on these three areas, you will make a huge progress in understanding the differences. So, do your best and keep pushing forward. Thanks very much for learning English with Mr. Jerry. Do you have any other words that you didn't hear me talk about in this video, but you find them so different between British English and American English? If you have a good example, write it down below in the comments. I'd love to see what you have to say. And leave a question too if you're not sure about something. I'll be happy to answer that as soon as I can. I have more videos that I hope will help you improve your English. If you're interested in learning more about business English, this could be a good recommendation. If you're interested in seeing more of our life and activities here in this North American context, then you might consider some of the Life in America videos that I've created. Either way, I hope you'll watch more. Thanks again for watching Learn English with Mr. Jerry.